Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Now today we haven't got a tutorial for you, we have got a review. So we're going to be reviewing this piece of equipment here, which is the ViewFlex. Now the idea is you can put your phone in this little device and it is basically just a gimbal. For those of you who are wondering, I'm going to leave the link down below in the description so you can go ahead and check it out if you want. This one cost £130 and it comes with a remote control that you can also control it with. So I'm going to take you through how this thing works. I'm going to put up some example videos on the screen so you can get an idea of what sort of shots you can get with this. Okay, so first of all I'm going to talk to you about the design and sort of the first sort of ideas you get when you open the box and use this piece of equipment. Now obviously £130 is a lot of money for those of you who aren't particularly sure whether you should invest it in a gimbal. Now if you're the sort of person who does vlogs or wants to get into cinematography, there is no reason why you can't use your iPhone in your videos to make something really fantastic. What you want to make sure is your shots are stable. The stableness of a shot is really important if you're trying to do cinematography. Well, you can use this device here. So now if you look down the pillar in the center of the device, you have three sort of buttons, well, two buttons and one sort of mini joystick. Now the joystick can be used to control it, so you can swivel it left or right or up or down. You can't sort of go a sort of 3D motion where you go up and left, so you kind of go diagonally. You can't do that using this joystick. It's either left or right or up or down, and you have to go back to the center before you do the other direction. That is one letdown, so you can't do some really cool diagonal panning shots, but you can get those really nice smooth tracking shot if you want. I went ahead and I went to a concert in London. I took this with me and I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to test this out in the sort of environment where you're going to be jumping around a lot. You're trying to film, but you're trying to get a steady shot. A lot of the time if you go to these concerts and you try and film it yourself on your phone, you just have horrible unusable footage of shaky shots. So I really put it through its paces, jumping around all the time, trying to see if I could get a steady shot so you guys can see the footage now, what sort of image you can get. Okay, so I personally am quite impressed with what sort of stable shots you can get with this. It doesn't take too long to learn and get used to. Obviously if you twist it slightly, it has a slight delay before it catches up with where you're pointing the camera, but that is to be expected if it is stabilizing and trying to make a smooth sort of pan between your shots. So it's a really cool device for that sort of thing. Now the two buttons below that are the on button, or the on and off button, and there's also a camera settings button. But the button below that is a camera button. If you press that, if you press it 3 times, you can go into portrait mode, so you can then have the phone sort of swivel around like this. There are some example shots of what it looks like in portrait mode, and then you can also have it in landscape mode. Now if you press it 4 times, it will just pan around on its own, sort of like a sort of time-lapse mode, so that's quite handy to have if you are thinking of shooting short little time lapses. Now you can also use the remote control, and I think there is an app that you can download as well and connect to this thing as well, so it's a really awesome piece of kit. Now if you look around the other side, you have this thing called a flash/zoom button. If you press this button in, basically that turns on the flash at the back of the gimbal, which is basically like just a video flash if you need it in a dark environment, which is actually quite cool. So if you toggle that flash up or down, you can increase the brightness of that flash, or you can decrease the brightness of that flash, which is really cool depending on what environment you're in. Usually the maximum flash is what you need if you're in a dark situation, because obviously the iPhone camera isn't really built for low light conditions. That is basically all the controls that you get on this device. The majority of the time you are just swiveling it with your hand and it is just filming where you point. The great thing I love about it is you can just pack down to a very small little thing. It doesn't really gimbal when it's not turned on, but as soon as you turn it on, it suddenly sticks up horizontal and it's perfect to use for the shot, good to go. Now there are 2 more things I want to talk to you about, first being battery life and the second one being adjustments of the gimbal. This concert was about 3 hours long, 4 hours long, and I had this gimbal turned on from basically the start, and it managed to keep going for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Close to the hour and a half mark, where at that sort of point it ran out of charge and kept on turning off. So if you turned it off, and then you can turn it back on again and use it for another couple of minutes. So really the charge doesn't last a crazy amount of time. You only have 2 small little batteries. This thing does come with a battery charger. You will need a USB to wall adapter so you can actually plug it into charge, or you can charge it off your laptop if you want, but just an iPhone sort of brick will work perfectly fine. They are very small batteries. The little charging brick doesn't really take up much room if you want to go ahead and charge it and take that with you wherever you go. It just comes in a very nice little box, which you can see. So other than the sort of letdown in how long the battery lasts, if you are going to be vlogging all day, for example, you are going to want to be bringing this thing and charging it with you all the time, which is a little little bit of a pain in the neck, but I haven't checked, but you probably could charge it off a portable charger if you needed. Now finally, I wanted to talk to you guys about adjusting the gimbal. If you have an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 6s or an iPhone 7, something around that sort of size, it's fine to use straight out of the box. The gimbal works perfectly fine. That's what I used it as. Now if you have something larger like an iPhone 7 Plus or an iPhone 6 Plus or whatever, you can have a look on the website what sort of phones work with this thing. It has an adjustable sort of clip, so any phone size really works with it. But basically, if you have a larger phone, what you'll find is that the gimbal will actually lean towards the phone. It won't actually be horizontal. Now because of this, the pack does come with a counterbalance weight which you can screw onto the other side here. You can just screw it in, and then that way it does sort of even out and it will stay horizontal for you if that's what you need. Personally, I don't think there's anything they've really missed out in this gimbal. I think it works perfectly fine. I think it's probably worth the money. It's definitely going to give you a really cool shot. The only issue is you've got to keep charging it every hour or every 2 hours, so it's going to be a bit of a pain in the neck if you need it all day. Other than that, I think it's a perfectly cool device. I think it'll be great for your YouTube or whatever your sort of content creators you guys are doing. I think it'd be perfect for you guys if you wanted to go ahead and shoot on your phone. You can also shoot in vertical mode if you're going to do Instagram stories and things like that. So it's a really cool little device. I definitely recommend go ahead, check it out in the description, and you can always go ahead and purchase it as well. I leave all the links down below. Go check it out. And finally, I just want to say a massive thank you to ViewFlex for sending this out. Their Amazon page, go check it out. Thank you so much for sending it out. It's great to review. I love this product. I 10 out of 10 recommend it. But that's it for you today, guys. We'll have a video out soon. It'll probably be another Lightroom tutorial. We will also have another review video out coming out soon or later. But I'll see you in the next one. Live long and prosper.